let me first start off by saying that, you know, I'm a Star Wars fan. And just like all the old school Star Wars fans like me who were kids when episode 4, 5, and 6 came out in the movie theaters, I was super hyped when episode 1 was announced, super disappointed when I watched episode 1, you know. I mean, disappointed when I watched episode 2, got a little bit better with episode 3, but you know, I'm not saying that I'm any different than most Star Wars fans out there. I think most Star Wars fans, you know, at least the old school fans like me, you know, felt that same way. But I think what trips me out is the level of negativity that was thrown at George Lucas. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a George Lucas fanboy. I mean, everything that George does, I love, da-da-da-da. I mean, I could be critical. You know, I'm a critic. There's nothing wrong with that. But man, it just felt like as time went on, as episode 1 came out, and then episode 2, and then even episode 3, like the people, like the Star Geeks, like the hardcore Star Wars fans who not only just watched the movies, but who got into the expanded universe and read all the books and you know, played different games and everything, you know, the hardcore Star Geeks, man, they turned on George with a vengeance. I mean, came after George like with like knives in hand. Damn, look at this stuff in the road, man. See, you got to be careful out here on the streets, boy. I'm telling you, when you're riding, you got to constantly scan. Anyway, when I saw all of the negativity that was thrown at George, I felt bad. I really did feel bad. Like, damn, like I think people started to turn it from criticism of the movies, being a critic of the movies, being a critic of the directing, of the overall direction. You know, people turned it to a level of hate, of meanness towards George Lucas, like in a way that I've never seen before with any other director or producer out there. Like, damn, like people started seriously hating George Lucas, like from their core, like emotionally hating George Lucas. And then people would turn that hate into these comments where they're like, now look, that's a little bit uncalled for. I mean, saying things like George Lucas raped my childhood. Oh man, come on, man. That's hurtful. You know, like that is a comment that is meant to hurt George Lucas. I don't think that's cool. I really don't think that's cool. I mean, I saw people I saw people dogging out the way George Lucas looks. You know, I mean, now come on, let's be real. I mean, you know, like many of us who are older, we've put on weight over the years, and George has not been immune to that. And people started dogging out the way the guy physically looked. It's like, damn, man. I mean, making caricatures of George Lucas looking like Jabba the Hutt and this and that. I mean, come on, man. I mean, seriously, like really started to, I mean, the comments started to turn from criticism of the movies, critical, you know, honest, constructive types of stuff, to hate. And that's when I started to distance myself from those comments. You know, I was one of those early folks too that was like, man, George, what did you do? Da 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 da. You know, I mean, I didn't like this about the movies, and I was confused here. Da 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 da. But damn, people turned it to a whole other, took it to a whole other level. You know, people took it to just really to the dark side. You know, I mean, damn, really not cool, I think. So anyway, and if you think about it, if you really think about it, acting aside, all the issues with the acting, all the issues maybe with some of the intricate details of the story, you know, all of that aside, if you look at the entire story arc itself, I mean, damn, I mean, brilliant if you think about it. I mean, you can't watch episode 4, 5, and 6 now in the same way, because you know that the whole story arc is not about Luke Skywalker. It's about Darth Vader. You know, it's about Anakin Skywalker. Like, damn, like, took it to that level. Like, you see, you know, those movies now, you know, from taking a step back and kind of, you know, disregarding some of the bad acting, it's like, wow, George, this is brilliant. And how, I mean, think about it. I mean, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker was a boy. You know, Darth Vader was a boy at one point in time. And so you kind of have to show, how does someone who's just a boy, as all boys are, you know, good-hearted, and, you know, they're not evil, turn to an evil, dark place. And wow, I think from that standpoint, brilliant. I mean, the story arc itself was just brilliant. I don't know of any other movies, any other story arc in a line of movies that is like that deep in terms of one person following the fall, the rise and fall of one person from a boy to an old man, innocence to being afraid of losing things, to then becoming evil. I mean, wow. I just, when you take a step back and think about that, brilliant, George. You did an awesome job with that type of stuff, you know? So, and then how much of it can you actually, you know, attack it? I mean, you can be a critic, but damn, this is George's creation. I think some of those fans who were like, man, look, it's beyond George's creation. We own it now. It's like us. Like it's up to the fans to own this now, and we should have a say. Maybe, but you know, maybe not. I mean, that's up to the creator. The creator, the maker, if you will, can do that or not. And I don't blame him. I mean, you know, it's his stuff. He could do whatever he wants with it. So you could choose to like it or not, but damn, don't turn the comments to hate. So anyway, with that, my friends, my people, keep watching the movies. This is SoopaBee.
I imagine George in a crystal castle drinking margaritas, lying on a bed made of people.
A lot of people view George Lucas as the Antichrist.